Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in today. This is Venturing Beyond 9 to 5. I am Ritu, co host of the podcast, and this is the second season of our VB 9 to 5 series, as we call it. And in this season, we will be focusing on conversations around freelancing, and we bring on board experienced freelancers who share their learnings, experiences, tips, and tricks for freelancers who are just getting started. And if you don't know about this already, Adventurize is a career development platform for freelancers. So if you would like to talk with and learn from experienced mentors in the freelancing space and connect and learn from others who are in the similar field as well, feel free to join our community and also connect with Nimi or I to get more information about it. Nimi will be sharing some links in the chat soon. So you can check out our website, our social media, and also get in touch with us from there. And today I'm really excited to welcome Sourabh Goyal into our podcast. And without boring you with all the introduction that I have for him, I'd rather leave it to Saurabh to really tell us a little bit about what he has been up to and share his career journey with us really quickly. So welcome, Saurabh. Great to have you here.
Thank you so much, Rutu. Thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure to being here and seeing this wonderful platform being created for learning and development in the freelancing space, because this is one space where there is no L&D department as such, because corporates maybe have a lot of L&D department. We keep learning and growing. So this is a very open space for everybody. So my journey has been good from being a mechanical engineer back in 2011. I started from there. I never thought I'll be doing this, what I'm doing right now, but there were certain ambitions that I was chasing and landed here. That landed me here. So from 2011 to 13, I was into mechanical engineering job. 2 years, I realized that this is not something I can do whole my life, a 9 to 5 job. So it was not about 9 to 5 job. It was also about the industry and the way it operates, right? So even the kind of career I was into, it was a well flourishing career because I was a design engineer, right? So the doors of BMW, Audi, like big companies were open for me after 4 to 5 years of good experience. But at the end, there is a cap on the corporate career that you can grow this much only as per your experience. So then I understood, okay, let's enter into sales and marketing, learn some different aspects of life also. So from 2013 to 18, I was a hardcore sales professional. I entered into direct sales, and where you only get a commission when you sell something, otherwise there is no pay. So it's the toughest model in sales, right? Something like selling insurance or any product like that. So one of the toughest models to sell something. Then 2018, I was like, okay, let's do something of our own. Then I started with a small coaching product that was into goal setting and strategic planning for professionals who want to venture out of their corporate career, or even if they're in the corporate career, how do they grow to a CEO level or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
If they don't have any goals and plan and execution plan, nothing is going to happen in life. And the concept was very, very simple. Like, we plan our holiday so well, right? For a
Mm-hmm.
week, but we are not planning our entire life. We don't know what we will be doing after 10 years or what we want to achieve after 10 years. And a lot of people say, okay, that is okay, but we go with the flow, this and that, everything, all the philosophies are around. I said, that is okay. You have to go with the flow because you don't have 100% control on life, but you can think of something and chase it. At least it will give you a direction to go with the flow, that which flow you are going and which
Mm-hmm.
direction you are going. It can be very, very different. So 2018, 19, 20 was all about that one workshop. We did 32 batches in 10 countries, everything online. So I started into online space and freelancing space way back in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not about pandemic that I thought about being online. I was online before that. I am a cafe hopper, so I have used all the cafes of South Delhi to do my business and work. And yes, then there are startups that came who were, giving you cafes as a co-working space as well, right, on a monthly subscription, and also that worked very well for us. And 2020 came with this book project. You see the growth hacking book 1 and 2 behind me. So we did this project with growth hacking teams. 100 marketeers came together to create this book. 2020 went into that completely. And then 2021, because of this book and a lot of personal brand that I could build on LinkedIn because of the content, a lot of companies and brands started coming for the branding part and the growth part and all. So we started working with them. So
Mm-hmm.
2021, you can say I was working solo with a team of few freelancers, but then I made it more structured now. So it's a company agency now called SuccessBrew, which
Mm-hmm.
have almost 15 experts who are over like 10 to 15 years experience in this area. They have worked with unicorns, they have worked with Silicon Valley startups and all. So now it's
Mm-hmm.
a full-fledged growth marketing company that take care of everything a person can think around branding and marketing. So this has
Got
been
it.
the journey as of now.
That's very exciting and also very unconventional in a lot of ways. I think, last year and a half has been the time for a lot of people to reconsider their law job choices and also the great resignation going on, everyone trying to shift towards freelancing. You kind of did that, much, much before that. And I think one thing you mentioned about sales, right? And I think it's such an important skill set as a freelancer in general, because a lot of people keep talking about honing your core skill set and really getting better at that, and of course that's a really big part of what you should be doing when you're a freelancer. But being able to sell, I think, is one of those things that every freelancer needs to learn at some point if they want to scale their freelancing business. So I think there'll be like some good tips from you on that end as well, on how to really hone your selling skill set and how to really go out there and really convince the other person that you can and actually will bring results without sounding too pushy or too salesy. And we'll definitely get into that a little bit later. But I wanted to talk about your journey from being a freelancer to starting an agency now. And a lot of freelancers do want to do that. And one of the really popular ways to scale your freelancing business is to turn into an agency at some point. So
Yes.
what was that particular experience like? And how did you get started with the thought of wanting to be an agency? And what's been your experience around that?
So I think, we need to understand one thing. As a freelancer, you have limited time, right?
Mhm.
Okay. You can work maximum 16 hours a day if you are very good at your work. Like if you are really passionate, really hardworking, you'll be able to work 16 hours a day, right? And in those 16 hours a day, you can easily make like 1 or 2 lakhs a month.
Mm,
That is also possible because today the pay scale is increasing, right? A blog that people used to write for 1 rupee per word in 3,000 rupees 5 years ago, now they can charge 20,000 for that.
mm,
They're good at it, right? Okay, with all the SaaS companies with thick budgets coming into market, they pay you that kind of money. But we need to understand that at the end, it will become a self-paying trap, right?
yeah.
You will never grow as a leader, and that's where I say the power of collaboration comes into picture, because as you said, the core skill is important, right? But there's one more thing, it is the least important thing today. Why?
Mm,
Because core skills you can buy, they're easily available in market.
mm,
Okay, so you can pick and choose people who are not good at sales but they have a core skill that is good, and if you can become good at sales, you can sell for them and get the work done through them,
mm,
right? So even in 2020, when I was kind of working solo, but still I distributed over 14 lakh rupees to freelancers, because I don't know everything. I'm very
mm,
honest about it. I don't know everything. I understand a broad business aspect, but if you ask me to write a blog, I cannot write any blog for anybody, right? But
mm,
there is a student freelancer who's right now in college, is master in writing blogs.
mm,
Right? There's a gap. One, he cannot reach a Series A funded startup
mm,
directly. Second, a Series A funded startup will never hire this person because of the trust issues.
mm,
Correct. So I am that bridge in between when it comes to collaborations. I know now the company doesn't need to know कि वो blog किसने लिखा है, as long as
mm,
it is good. Right? Okay. Because of my credibility, I can charge 3 times of the market price and they pay me. Right? So ये जो freelancer शायद 3,000 रुपए या 5,000 रुपए लेने वाला है, I pay him 10,000 actually. I'm not exploiting him
mm,
by paying only 3 or 5,000.
mm,
I tell him that I have charged very good amount, so you can also charge, but you do the good work. And if you have a problem, you learn from me. So when you transfer from just a core freelancer to agency model, you need to understand two things. You need to cut down your margins. आप डायरेक्टली उतना पैसा नहीं कमा पाओगे because you need to share it with someone. Second, this someone is also not an expert. You need to teach them how to behave and how to work. So you need to grow up as a human first and become a teacher to these people also. You can have certain experts also, but if you hire everybody as an expert, that'd be a very expensive game. So you need to hire some people who are not very good at the skill set, but they're good, and you can make them very good over a period of time. So my agenda of working always is freedom. So everything in my life revolves around two things: freedom and growth.
Hmm.
Once I do something and I have achieved a level, I'm like, what next? Immediately, what next? Right? And I and like you said, you need to convince them or something like that and say, yes, we need not do that. If your work is good and it is published on social media, people are coming to you directly.
Hmm.
And no matter who you are today, they are coming to a college student also. And we have so many examples in freelancing community who were college students but making 6-7 figures a year.
Hmm.
We
Yep.
have it there now. So this is how I thought about it and built it.
Got it. And you mentioned something about the trust issue that comes into play, and I think which is why when there's large marketplaces coming into picture, that's kind of what they're solving for, when taking in payment in advance, the milestone kind of payment deal, just so that both parties think that they're sort of in a safer space. At the same time, people are trying to move away from that because of how many problems these marketplaces bring up in terms of the commission charges and also the kind of work they're getting as well. And I think that's a really big problem when it comes to just finding freelancers from anywhere, from LinkedIn or from Instagram or your personal contact. Trust is a really big problem. And I think the other thing that comes with that is just the back and forth, and just being able to communicate the needs and expectations, and being able to say that these are the deliverables, and these are at the utmost quality that you expected. And I think that's where agencies or like anyone that's in the middle can take a part, and really whether it's vetting who's the right freelancer to do that job, to really take making sure the quality is at most par. Like those are the things I think are where the larger pain points of the clients also lie. So I think that's a really good way to approach the problem as well. It's not about exploiting any of the parties, but
Yes.
really making that process as streamlined and smooth as possible. And you mentioned that you started this learning community around, goal setting and something around really achieving what you are set out to do. And you also have a community as a part of it. And I remember the conversation we had a couple of weeks ago. You seemed really, really passionate about community building and really having a thriving community in place. And I think that's especially important for individuals that are working on their own, where you don't have like colleagues that you will meet every day or work with. People you work with changes a lot as well. So I was just wondering, what has been your just general learnings building this community, and what are your like biggest takeaways from just online communities that are popping up every single day these days, so that's becoming something lot more mainstream as well.
So again, I would say I was an early adapter of building a community as well, right? Because I think during when we started as a, with this mindset of being an entrepreneur and doing something in life, during 2012-13, there were very less communities. If we talk about startups, there was only one community called Delhi Startups, right? And that is still a very
Mm-hmm.
active community. So the idea of community comes actually from a human behavior, right? If we see as a human behavior, we cannot live alone.
Mm-hmm.
हम पहले गांव में रहते थे, फिर अगर हम शहरों की बात करते हैं तो यहाँ पे सोसाइटीज हैं. इफ यू आर लिविंग इन फ्लैट काइंड ऑफ अरेंजमेंट, इफ यू आर इन अ सोलो हाउसिंग, देयर इज स्टिल अ मोहल्ला एंड देयर आर पीपल अराउंड यू, राइट? ओके. And a lot of value exchange and knowledge exchange happens for free in these communities, right? And you feel safe, right? For example, when we talk about, let's say, freelancing, last year one of my clients got stuck in an area कि okay, I do not understand your work, आपने branding strategy करके दिया, मुझे समझ नहीं आया, so I'm not paying rest half of the amount.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, you can keep my money, but I can assure you that I own the entire growth hacking communities. None of the marketers in India will ever work for you. You can keep the money. I don't have a problem. But I can make you sure that. Okay. And then this guy actually reached out to a lot of growth hackers, spoken bad things about me, and it backfired to him. He said, if Sourabh has done some work now, bro, you are at mistake. If you don't understand something, he will give you all the time to make you understand. But if you are trying to become a gunda, then we all are better gundas than you, and we have a community. We are in a safe space, you are not. Because you are a startup, you will always need us.
Mm-hmm.
So I think community gives you that safer space. And while building community, believe you me, I have people better than me in my community in a lot of aspects. There are TEDx speakers, Joe Stock speakers, Forbes 13 or 30 people. All kind of people are there in my community, from Indian Army, from senior corporate background. Everything is there, and most of my collaborations happens through community. That is the best part, right? And even inside the community, there's a lot of business exchange keeps happening that I don't track because वो मेरा काम नहीं है, right? I brought in people together because I wanted to create a long-term support system. आपने ट्रेनिंग दे दिया किसी को, that's okay. But वो ट्रेनिंग के बाद ना execution बहुत जरूरी है, and that is why I could track that as a community we have achieved 500 plus goals. Right? So all those case studies becomes a strength, and it becomes a proven thing in market. कि okay, यहाँ पे जाओगे तो you will get certain value as promised and beyond that. So this is how I think community building or being part of a community. One thing people make a mistake is they become part of the group and then they're inactive there. वो ना कुछ लिखते हैं ना कुछ पढ़ते हैं.
Yeah.
And they silent the notifications.
That's most of the people,
group, right? Maybe you join only 2 or 3 good groups which are active and value providing people, but then you stay active in those communities, help them, right? Somebody's asking, go beyond your comfort zone and help them.
Yeah.
Right? And don't think of earning money at every stage कि अच्छा मैंने contact number दिया है, ये business करेगा तो मुझे उसमें से पैसा चाहिए. Every time you cannot have that. You can have that kind of a collaboration with a limited set of people. But not with everybody.
Yeah. You mentioned that you don't really track what kinds of business collaborations that go through your community, but are there any other aspects that you sort of measure or like sort of able to quantify about the community? It doesn't have to be about what will later give you some result or like some monetary outcome out of it, but anything really to make sure that it is actually growing and thriving and people are engaging and finding it valuable as well. Are there any KPIs of sorts?
Yes, so I think the best thing is that a person's growth financially is one number that I can measure because that's a numeric, that is the only numeric thing, right? So if I have a community of freelancers, I can measure, okay, this particular person was earning 50,000 a month. They have crossed 1 lakh a month now, right? Next thing I see, they are creating a team for themselves now. They have so much work, right? Okay. Or, somebody has grown to a bigger level where now they are becoming TEDx speaker or Josh Talk speaker. Right? Or they are being invited to a podcast like this or somebody else's podcast, or they're creating a YouTube channel. So when you see your people doing new things, right? For me, there is no fixed measure of success, right? It's a very subjective topic. For me, it is about growth. कि कुछ नया किया क्या? That's enough for me. Even if a new action has been done, this person has grown a little bit in their own mindset. Otherwise, there is no new action coming in. अगर mindset grow नहीं हुआ तो. Right. So people who are active in the community and I keep talking to them, I get to know what new they are doing. So for me, that is the KPI, that people are doing something new and they are growing further and they are not at the same place where they were 1 year ago. Right. So that is the best thing I think we can track. But yes, I'm now getting to involve the tech into it so that we can track it better. And we have some strong numbers to provide, okay, this is what happened inside the community.
Got it. Yeah. I think that's something that really helps as well, even if that's something you kind of have to do manually in the beginning when if it's just a WhatsApp group. And I think the struggle of having only top 10% of the people being most engaged and most active and everyone else just sort of lurking around, I think stays in every single community. And as community managers, it's kind of like something that you'd have to think about more actively on what is it that's making people really not engaged. If it's just about they don't have time or they don't want to be a part of it,
10%
that's
is a
a
very good
different
number.
thing.
10% active people is a good number, I would say. Because I'll tell you why. There's a generic ratio across the planet, every industry, everywhere. There are 3% people who have some fire in their belly. 3%, right? Okay. Even if they don't have a support system, they will grow. Right? Another 7 to 10% people are there who just need a little push. They are active part of communities. The top 3% are building communities. right? So when I started, I did not had any support or a community. I said, okay, when 10 people come together, they can support each other, right? That was my idea. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि मुझे support करना है सबको.
Yeah.
People having 10 different thought processes, 10 different mindset, 10 different skill sets can support each other. And I go out to my own community to seek support so many times, right? Because I don't know everything. I am very, true to this fact. I cannot know everything.
Yeah.
I have certain limits of my own as a human, right? मुझे सब कुछ नहीं पता हो सकता है. Right? So yesterday I met one of my community members. She was traveling from Mumbai to Delhi. Hearing her story is so inspiring, right? From someone who got married at the age of 17 to becoming a sales head of a NBFC. That to coming out of a Muslim family. Not a joke.
Yeah.
Right? So these stories inside the community also inspires me a lot. And it gives me, okay, I have to do more for them. Create better support system, create better ecosystem. So,
Yeah.
And
no, definitely.
Sometimes these are also people who are not so active because they don't have time, because they're so busy with the work.
Yeah.
If they come out and tell something, it's very valuable.
For sure. No, I think, that reminded me of a time like Nimi and I were kind of doing some keyword research for the SEO for a blog. And we had this conversation about, what could be other tools that we can use, because these are the only ones popping up when we Google it. And we went around watching a bunch of YouTube videos and trying to Google as much as we can. And I was like, we already have a community. That's what we created it for. Why not just go and ask? And we did, and people gave some amazing suggestions. And it's not just about, who could know the best of best, but just share like a couple of things, people will try it out. If it helps, it helps. If it doesn't, it'll at least save them time to go around there and Google somewhere else. So I definitely, I think that's the collaboration bit. And even if it's just like one or two messages that can give someone some kind of a lead, that's enough too. Yes. And sort of trying to shift gears towards digital marketing, the kind of stuff that you have been working on. The digital marketing space in itself, if you think about it, is super broad. And when someone says, hey, I'm a digital marketer, which is probably every other person on LinkedIn these days, first of all, what does it even mean to be a digital marketer? What does that entail? Does it mean that the person sort of knows a little bit about all aspects of things? When can you call yourself a digital marketer? Just give you understanding about that.
I think first you need to call yourself a marketer. Right? Okay. So digital marketing is a small part of the entire marketing as a scenario.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. The offline marketing still works. ऐसा नहीं है कि उसका काम खत्म हो गया है. Right? Okay. We have seen great campaigns from Square Yards, and we have recently seen Shark Tank. Right? Okay. So it is still went on a prime time TV channel. Right? I think Shark Tank में सबसे बड़ा startup Shark Tank खुद था as a show. Correct or not? Okay.
Yeah.
It gave you something. So I think digital marketing is a very vague word.
Absolutely.
Okay? Because today it has become LinkedIn marketing, Facebook marketing, Instagram marketing, Reddit marketing, Twitter marketing, email marketing, content marketing. Content में now again, अगर मैं digital marketing में से पूरे एक set में से एक चीज उठाऊं कि I am a content writer. So उसमें भी, are you a fintech writer? Are you a edtech writer?
Yeah.
Are you a health writer? Are you an energy healing writer? Are you a coaching writer? What kind of a writer are you? Today the tree is very, very huge, right? And anybody who want to really make big money in freelancing, they need to find out one or two things specific, right? Because see, when a college student today says I'm a content marketer, the only thing I can do is I can laugh. Why? You are a college student, you did engineering. You know nothing about marketing, you know nothing about human psychology, and you are talking about I will write personal growth content. That journey has not even started for you. How will you write it? So people think that I can go and pick up 10 websites, right? And from there I can do some research, mold the words so that it is not plagiarism, right? And it will be a good content. It might look good as a content, but it is waste of a content. It will do everything for you, जो आपको achieve करना है, leads भी आ जाएंगी, सब कुछ आ जाएगा. But I think content is something that you're writing from your experience first. Technical things, like you said, that we can do a keyword research, which keywords people are searching, we can use that part to research. That's okay. right? But if you ask me, Saurabh, आपको एक 2000 words का blog लिखना है about freelancing and then how scaling to digital marketing, I can write it on my own. मुझे किसी से पूछने की या कोई वेबसाइट पे जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. Even I
Hmm.
cannot search keywords because मुझे पता है लोग क्या पूछेंगे और क्या जानना चाहते हैं, because I've worked with these people very deeply. उनके core problems क्या हैं, right? So idea is that learning has been a part where people are not understanding कि उनको क्या सीखना है.
Hmm.
A major challenge. The only thing they are saying is being a freelancer can make a lot of money and I'll be free.
Yeah.
I have seen people on LinkedIn. I'm a LinkedIn strategist. खुद के followers 1500 भी नहीं है. Correct. Now you may have written it as a LinkedIn strategist and maybe you're good at it. It's okay. But seeing your profile, who will trust you? Tell me that.
Yeah.
Nobody will, right? But when they say somebody with 1,40,000 followers, मुझे लिखने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. I'm LinkedIn strategist. They know it. So किसी ने मुझे बहुत पहले बोला था, अगर आप अमीर हो तो आपको बताने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. अगर आपको बताने की जरूरत पड़ रही है कि मैं अमीर हूं या मैं खुश हूं, तो आप खुश नहीं हो. Then you are trying to tell people कि मैं कुछ हूं, right? And that is where the flow of sales starts. Because for me, it is a daily of 2 to 3 inbound leads, high ticket leads, daily. It's hard for me to manage those leads, right? And then you are showing something that you are not, and you are doing outbound. क्या रिजल्ट होगा? 0.1% मैक्स. और उसमें भी शायद आप फिर रिजल्ट प्रोड्यूस नहीं कर पाओगे.
Yeah.
सो आई थिंक फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मार्केटिंग को समझना बहुत जरूरी है कि मार्केटिंग क्या है. Once you understand that aspect, now platforms will become very easy to understand, because platform is nothing but an algorithm. Platform is nothing but an algorithm. It's a simple algorithm, right? कहीं पे लॉन्ग फॉर्म कंटेंट चलता है, कहीं पे शॉर्ट फॉर्म चलता है, कहीं पे लैंग्वेज का डिफरेंस आ सकता है, और आप कहीं पे कुछ और कर सकते हो. बट जब आपको एक ब्रॉड टर्म मार्केटिंग ही नहीं समझता अभी, तो आप यहाँ डिजिटल कैसे करोगे?
Right. So would you say that pehla step would just be really working and getting experience in that field, then transitioning to freelancing?
Yes.
Or like, how do you go about really understanding the
I'll tell
field
you, जितने
itself?
भी आपको freelancers दिखते हैं ना, जो 22-23 साल की एज में, and they are making 6 figures income, they were doing internships from the first year of college. So first year, second year, third year, fourth year, उन्होंने कम से कम रेगुलरली काम किया है स्टार्टअप्स के साथ, स्मॉल लेवल पे. We are not able to see that. But somebody who has never done those internships suddenly after fourth year says, I want to become a content marketer. He need to get into a job first, understand the industry, understand how businesses work, understand how processes work, right? I have seen content writers talking about, मेरा ना 10% TDS काट लिया. He is a bad client. अब वो normal taxation law है. मतलब why are you worried about it? वो आपके ही टैक्स में गया है. जब आप टैक्स भरोगे, it will be balanced. So nobody has taken your money away. It's a normal taxation law. So you need to understand that part also. So वो चीजें एक्सपीरियंस से आती हैं, वो आपको कोई कोर्स में नहीं सिखा सकता. That's part of an experience. So I would say, अगर आपने कभी भी इंटर्नशिप्स वगैरह नहीं किए हैं और आप सडनली सोच लो कि मैं अभी फ्रीलांसर बन जाऊं, वो नहीं होने वाला. बिकॉज आपका ब्रांड बिल्डिंग नहीं है, आपको लोग जानते नहीं है, आपको उतना एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है कि आप किसी से कॉन्फिडेंस से बात कर पाओ कि मैं रिजल्ट प्रोड्यूस कर सकता हूँ. क्योंकि रिजल्ट प्रोड्यूस करना इज नॉट अबाउट कि आपको अपना पुराना केस स्टडी दिखाना है. आपके कॉन्फिडेंस से समझ में आ जाता है सामने वाले को.
Yeah.
Right? So for an example, I charge more than market price for every service. Right? But people are happy to pay me for two things that people have told me already. Right? One, they feel happy talking to me. The vibes are good. Correct? Because whenever I go on a call with someone, I am not going with the agenda कि आज इसको बेचना है. I'm going with the agenda कि अभी जो आधा घंटा कॉल होगी, what best I can do for him in this half an hour. Can I give him a suggestion? Can I give him some good things? Right? Okay. And even if my clients are bigger Series A funded companies, I always tell them, let's start small. Let's build a relationship in 3 months. Then let's go big. You feel so secured about it. कि यार ये हमारा पैसा नहीं खाना चाहता, ये एकदम से हमको 10-12 लाख का 15 लाख का बजट नहीं दे रहा है. He's talking about 1 or 2 lakhs that is easily usable and testable. So testing क्या होता है? टेस्टिंग इज वो कंपनी उतना पैसे अगर खो भी गया उसका तो उसको दुख नहीं होगा. नाउ एज अ मार्केटर माय रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी कि उस टेस्टिंग में उसको बेस्ट रिजल्ट्स प्रोड्यूस करके दिए जाए. नाउ ही हैज अ ट्रस्ट. Now he can spend 20 lakhs on me in a year, not a problem. Now I will have a good retainer. So new freelancers, the first thing, उनके पास एक भी क्लाइंट नहीं है, वो कंटेंट नहीं लिखते अपने लिंक्डइन पे, कुछ नहीं किया. The only question they will ask, अच्छा सौरभ 6 figure क्लाइंट कैसे मिलेगा? नहीं मिलेगा. राइट, 6 figure क्लाइंट नहीं मिलेगा क्योंकि आपको उतना भरोसा नहीं दिलवा पाओगे आप किसी को कि वो आपको 1 लाख दे दे एक साथ. So I think these are steps. You should not skip any step in this area.
Right. And even if that means you're getting low ticket clients in the beginning, it's just journey towards learning
Yes,
and
yes,
figuring
yes.
things out. So that's something you should be open to as well. And you mentioned a little bit about experimentation when it comes to clients, right? And that's from my understanding, very superficial understanding of what growth hacking is. You're doing series of really small experiments really quickly to figure out what can be the best alternative, right? Could you elaborate on a little bit on what growth marketing is and growth hacking is and how that's different from growth marketing and what these terms really mean?
So when we say digital marketing, it can be anything you are doing, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But what we are talking here at growth marketing is marketing that is specifically focused on growth, user acquisition, brand value growth, right? We are talking about the growth segment. So there can be a company who is generating leads, who have a lot of clients, but not growing. It sounds contradictory, but it is the way it is. So I have a client yesterday who came to me. They're 10 years in the business. They started with fresh works, but nobody knows them. Right? And in past 1.5 years, they have grown from 30 people team to 210 people team. Internally, they have grown, right? But externally in the world, nobody knows them. So they grew in terms of user acquisition and client acquisition. They never grew in terms of brand value. Now they're facing a challenge of उनके पास talent नहीं आता काम करने because कोई उनको जानता ही नहीं. Right? So same thing with freelancers also. You need to build that brand value and growth also in yourself so that people can trust you. सारा trust का game है यहाँ पे, perception का game है, right? So growth marketing is building those perceptions wherein rather than you are going to somebody, people are coming to you. So I just launched this company. Like SuccessBrew was registered in September 2021, but I launched it in January only. So अभी 1 महीना भी नहीं हुआ है, right? Entire team was built in this 1 month. I did not go to anybody. They came to me, okay, we want to be part of this. Whatever you are doing, we want to be part of this. It was not about, we want to be part of your marketing team. Whatever you are doing, we want to be part of it. We want to work with you. That's the thing. Why it happened? Because of a personal brand that I built over past 3 years. People know me well. Not only the skill set, they also know me as a human being, right? So in December 2021, I spent over ₹1 lakh just to travel to Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune to meet my community people. No agenda, having like family or Christmas dinners with them. No agenda. A lot of people told me, are you stupid to spend so much money on meeting the community people offline? Right? But at the end, what happened? Community structure became better. We built better relationships. People now know each other better. Right? And I came back with almost 15 leads. जिसका कोई एजेंडा नहीं था, but it happened in the process, right? So growth, so this is an act of growth marketing. Meeting your community offline, it is an act of growth marketing. People don't understand it, right? Today, if there's a freelance, like you have a freelancing community, try to do it. Bring them offline meetup. Believe me, 5% people will come. The rest of them will be like, आने जाने में टाइम लगेगा, आने जाने में पैसा भी लगेगा, फिर वहां पे खाने का पैसा भी देना पड़ेगा. They will keep calculating this only. Right? So growth hacking is set of experiments that are non-conventional, done for a specific use case. Sometimes they're not generic. We cannot give it to everybody. So it is about, so that's where I said you need to understand marketing in broad, and then the entire business model. आपको अगर बिजनेस मॉडल समझ नहीं आ रहा है ना, तो आप उसके लिए ग्रोथ मार्केटिंग नहीं कर सकते.
Of course.
Right? So when a client comes to me, I start with three things. Okay, what's your business model? What's your brand strategy? अगर ये दोनों जगह पे नहीं है तो मैं आपके लिए ग्रोथ मार्केटिंग नहीं कर सकता. I say no to them, no matter how much money they have.
That makes sense. And right. Oh, sorry. You froze for a second, but no, I was just saying, so yeah, again, it's very vague, right? And when you say growth marketing, it would also depend on the kind of company you're working for as well. It'll be entirely different meaning for a SaaS brand as opposed to like an e-commerce company, right? So those things also come into picture. And when people talk about, niching down for freelancers, those are the kinds of aspects that need to be niched down if you're trying to offer specialized services. And of course, you can niche down based on, the industry vertical and the kind of client you're working with, is whether it's like a solopreneur versus like a, Fortune 500 company, whatever that is. But when we talk about niching down specifically around the area in digital marketing, whether it is content or SEO or whatever that is, how would you go about figuring that out? Because it can't just be about, oh, what are you most interested in? Because, that's kind of not the best way to gauge it. How do you really niche down, basically?
So I think that is the way you need to experiment on yourself, that what are you liking the more. So maybe you work with the agency where everything is happening and you become part of it. राइट, बिकॉज सी जब तक आपने किसी चीज को देखा नहीं है, एक्सपीरियंस नहीं किया, आप नहीं बोल सकते कि आप वो उसमें अच्छे हो या नहीं, आपको वो अच्छा लगता है या नहीं. So either you become of a big agency, part employee in a big agency, do internship, work for free if required, right? I would say that. So a lot of things, work on LinkedIn these days, ki internship should not be free and all. I say it should be free. Correct? Because it's my company and I'm giving you a chance to experiment. If there is a loss, I will bear that loss also, right? Without firing you, right? I'll be giving my time, energy to teach you, right? And हो सकता है 2 महीने में आपको पसंद ना आए और आप छोड़ के चले जाओ कहीं और पे. So 2 या 3 महीना अगर आपको फ्री में भी काम करना पड़ता है, तो it should not be a point of botheration for you, because you are learning and experimenting. The learning is a much better payback for you. So for example, in my mechanical industry, I was from a tier 3 college student, right? Okay. I was practically good. Terminologically, I was not good, that theoretically, right? So I worked with a company at a 5,000 per month salary for like 1.5 years. But I was working with someone who has managed a 18,000 crore company. For me, that learning 1.5 years is much more expensive than that salary. Right? So I worked in a fabrication plant there. Okay. So you must have seen people, welding metal rods and all. I've done it personally. Right? From there to getting into a production plant, जहाँ पे बड़ी-बड़ी CNC machines हैं, programming machines चल रही हैं, robots चल रहे हैं. From there to design department. So he told me one thing, आपको design सीखना है ना, पहले production सीखो. So that's what I'm saying. आपको डिजिटल मार्केटिंग सीखना है, पहले सेल्स एंड मार्केटिंग सीखो. सेल्स सीखो, मार्केटिंग से पहले सेल्स आता है. एक्चुअली में यू शुड हैव एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ सेल्स, बिकॉज मार्केटिंग इज अ फंक्शन दैट सपोर्ट सेल्स. तो अगर आपको ये नहीं पता कि सेल्स में कॉन्वर्सेशन कैसा होगा, तो आप मार्केटिंग में क्या कम्युनिकेशन दोगे, बताओ. राइट? सो व्हेन वी डू मार्केटिंग, वी नो कि जब सेल्स वाले के पास जाएगा ना, तो वहां पे क्या होगा, वी ऑलरेडी नो इट. It's a different ball game altogether to understand marketing. It is sales, it is human psychology. See, that's why it is a common term called sales and marketing.
Right.
जिसने रखा है वो बेवकूफ नहीं था, उसने कुछ सोच के रखा था. Right? Okay, it's sales and marketing.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's say, you are someone who's had a little bit of experience, knows what you kind of like, kind of have an experience in it, and now you want to get into freelancing. How would you really go about figuring out where to find clients? Because the channels are many right now and you could get overwhelmed trying to figure it out from everywhere. How would you go about that?
So first thing I would say, figure out what kind of people you want to work with. What kind of brands you want to work with, any particular industry you want to work in, right? So if you see people who are successful freelancers, they're working in a particular industry segment.
Correct.
and they are not both. So a SaaS content writer is different, a SaaS copywriter is different. So they are making that different also. Now there are some people who say, हाँ SaaS है तो मैं content भी लिख दूंगा, मैं copy भी लिख दूंगा, मैं website content भी लिख दूंगा. ऐसे नहीं चलता है. So you figure out which kind of an industry excites you. Maybe health tech excites you. Maybe fintech excites you. Find out that first of all. Then you find out ये सारे लोग ज्यादा बात कहाँ पे करते हैं. Are they on Twitter Spaces? Because अभी Twitter भी Twitter नहीं रहा है ना. There's a Twitter, there's a Twitter list, there's a Twitter Spaces. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then there is Clubhouse, then there is Instagram, then there are Discord communities, Slack communities. Then you find out where are these communities. I think first thing is that become part of communities. Find out communities. There will be someone who will make you part of a communities. For example, I was talking to someone last week and she gave me a link to join a SaaS-based community on Slack. Now there are 700 marketeers and SaaS founders in that community, right?
Is it my internet?
I think so. Yes, mine is fine.
Okay, you're back. Okay, you're back. Cool.
Okay.
Just missed the last part.
So it is about, find where are those people, first of all. It can be a community. So I think joining communities will help you understand this, right? And then as per social media, I think for freelancers, Twitter and LinkedIn, both are great. Because these both the places are filled with founders.
True.
Of all the startups. Right. And believe you me, these are the places where you can get to Kunal Shah also, and you can talk to Piyush Bansal also, if you have right thing to talk about. लेकिन अगर आप जाके वहां पे यही बोलने वाले हो मेरी जिंदगी बहुत खराब है और मेरे को काम दे दो तो वो नहीं होता. That doesn't work today. That sympathy based thing is not working anymore. Right? You show a skill set, it will work. A simple example of this. Last year, a boy created a 28-second ad video for Cred.
I think I know about that.
Right?
Yeah.
He got 10 lakh views, 5,000 likes within 24 hours. And Cred design team has to comment, welcome to Cred Design Mafia. Kunal Shah also commented on the post. Right? That is power of social media of one platform. Right? So that means when you're saying I'm a content marketer, and you are not able to market for yourself. So when somebody says कि okay, अच्छा आपने LinkedIn profiles में किसके साथ काम किया, किसका brand build किया, शायद मैंने अपना ही किया, मेरा देख लो. Why do you need to check anything else? तो जो काम मैंने अपनी प्रोफाइल पे किया है, I'll do same for you. It is as simple as that, right? Okay. Content क्या होगा, आप कौन सी इंडस्ट्री से हो, मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता, because you are talking about personal branding. Personal branding is a whole different ball game. उस पे आपकी इंडस्ट्री कंटेंट का मुझसे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. So I would say first find out a niche, आपको कौन सी niche excite करती है, right? उसमें आप क्या करना चाहते हो, and then find कि ये लोग कहाँ मिलेंगे. वो Reddit के ग्रुप में मिल सकते हैं, वो Twitter space में मिल सकते हैं, वो Quora space में मिल सकते हैं. Find out where are these people most active, and then pick up that one channel and stay super active there to connect with people, to understand their problems, and don't do cold outreach. मैं ये हूँ और मेरे से काम करा लो. Never. नहीं काम करता अभी. Let them come to you. Create content about their problems. If they're asking a question, answer their query. They will come to you. Now let them come to you. Give them some space. उनके पीछे मत पड़ जाओ. Because digital sales में सबसे अच्छी चीज है that people want to explore options. The only thing you need to become is you need to become the best possible option.
Right.
Right.
That's a good quote. We might put it on our Instagram. I think that pretty much sums it up altogether.
Okay. So you need to become the best possible option for them, whom they can trust and whom they can play on. So see, everybody is playing a bet here. People whom I am also collaborating with, I'm playing a bet with them.
Yeah.
हो सकता है वो ना काम करके दे मेरे हिसाब से, कल को दिक्कत तो मुझे होगी because पैसा मैंने लिया क्लाइंट से.
Yeah.
I'm playing a bet on the best options. Options तो बहुत सारे हैं, right? So that is the only thing. You become the best possible option for them and build your brand and be part of community. So people think networking is a waste of time. No agenda meetings. People don't do. Right? Now I'll tell you, I invited Vice President Kotak Mahindra Bank. I said, ma'am, no agenda. I would love to learn from your growth and your story. Maybe we can have a 15-20 minute call. She said, yes. She's a Vice President of Kotak Mahindra Bank. People don't send a message genuinely.
Mm.
The only thing they will do is, oh, I am a content writer, I am a freelancer, आपके पास कोई काम हो तो मुझे दे देना.
Yeah.
आपके पास टाइम नहीं है आपकी लिस्ट बनाने का कि आपके पास क्या काम है. बट अगर वो एक नो एजेंडा कॉल पे एज अ ह्यूमन बीइंग आपके साथ 20 मिनट कॉल पे आ गई, तो वो आपको याद रखेगी.
Yeah.
तो मत, रिलेशनशिप बिल्ड करो, अपने आप बिक जाएगा.
Right. Makes sense. And I think it's kind of like a long-term game as well. Keep doing that. Things will,
Yes,
fall
it is a
in
long term
place at
game.
some
So as a
point.
freelancing, अगर आप start भी कर रहे हो, so keep a patience of 12 months doing this,
Mm.
at least 12 months.
Yeah.
So when I take name of, let's say, Vanshika Mehta, Komal Ahuja, all these girls, I have seen them growing within 1 year only, 2020. Why? They picked up one thing and they were consistent about it throughout the
Yeah.
year.
Mm.
So Komal Ahuja picked up SaaS content writing, Vanshika picked up SaaS branding. Simple, right?
Yeah.
So it picks it up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's true to everything in life in general,
Yes.
regardless of, what you're trying to do. If you keep doing the same thing over and even with podcasting, I think one of the greatest pieces of advice I've heard is basically put out at least, 50 to 60 episodes without thinking about anything at all. After that, you'll kind of understand a pattern of what works, what doesn't, what kinds of guests you want to bring on board, and then things will fall into picture. So when it comes to, like relentlessly marketing something or putting a lot of money into ads and stuff, before that, just put it out there, keep doing that every single week, show people that you're consistent with it, and things will fall in place at some point. And you also unconsciously improve on certain things
Yes.
without even realizing, because your brain sort of gets used to that as
It
well.
is practice, no? That's what we say. It is practice part. So 1 year is a practice. वो
Yeah.
गेम नहीं है अभी, वो वर्ल्ड कप नहीं है.
Yeah.
So
For
one
sure.
year, even if you're pitching people, getting in touch with people, we will say a lot of no. It's okay. Keep going, keep going, keep going. At the
Yeah.
end, you will learn how to ask for a sell. What is a better
Mm.
way of asking for a sell? For example, I was on a call with Vice President Growth Marketing for HDFC Bank. Puri call ho gayi, we spoke for like 1.5 hours. And said, if you know, if you have something, let me know if I can help you in any way. And
Mm.
he ended up saying, "Ha, we might do a influencer marketing campaign soon."
Mm.
It
Right.
was still not a sell, it was a way of saying ki if I can help you in any way, let me know. So let's be in touch.
Yeah.
It was a simple thing. And
Mm.
he ended up buying something. उसके बाद भी कब आएगा कब नहीं आएगा अभी नहीं पता मुझे. I will not follow up on that very soon.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe I'm traveling to Mumbai next month. I'll meet him. I'll catch him with him for a cup of coffee. He will have a better understanding of me as a person then.
Mm.
He will be more excited to work with me then. Right?
Yeah.
So that's what we need to do. We need to create that attraction for ourselves. And it works over a period of 1, 2 years. It is not a small job. It is not an overnight thing. Nothing
Yeah.
is overnight. It takes time.
For sure. Patience is super important in,
Yes.
freelancing. Also because, there's a lot of uncertainty involved. It's not like, you do something and the results would be guaranteed. So it's constant reiteration on every single aspect. So for sure, patience is very important. And I just wanted to say we have like last 10 minutes left. So if anyone has any questions, you can either message them to Nimi directly or put it in the chat. I'll ask them. And meanwhile, you pointed at your LinkedIn presence quite a bit, and you've got great amount of traction on your profile as well. If you had to really quickly give one or two takeaways or top tips for how to grow on LinkedIn in general, what would that be?
I would say आप content बनाओ या नहीं बनाओ because everything is a piece of content, right?
Hmm.
Even if you're writing a comment on somebody else's post, it's a piece of content that you are writing, right? So whether you are a content writer or not doesn't matter. You learn how do you place words better, how do you express yourself better authentically, right? Okay. So I think engaging with other people is one of the most important things
Hmm.
apart from you creating your own content. Right now people get into a different scenario. अरे मैंने उसकी 10 पोस्ट पे कमेंट किया, आज तक उसने मेरी पोस्ट पे कमेंट नहीं किया. Correct? Okay, they start fighting in that area, but that's not a right way to do it again. Because see, आप उसकी पोस्ट पे कमेंट कर रहे हो इसलिए नहीं कि वो भी आके आपकी पोस्ट पे कमेंट करेगा. राइट? आपको शायद उसका कंटेंट अच्छा लग रहा है बट उसको नहीं लग रहा अभी.
Hmm.
right? But try and understand, if there's a post that is carrying 300 comments, and when you comment on it, 300 people got a notification, right? And on every influencer's post, there are common 300-400 people commenting every time. That means when you comment every time these 300 people get to know about you, and they might end up on your profiles.
Yeah.
Okay. Commenting is one thing where people have told me, like my leads and clients, that I read your comment and came to your profile, not my content. So I think commenting, and see, commenting में लोग क्या करते हैं, oh very good, more power to you, बाबा वो सब ठीक है, उसको कोई नहीं पढ़ना, right? But if you have genuinely shared something that you also believe in, supporting their content, or maybe not supporting the content in a respected way, if you are not able to support that written on a piece of content, you can contradict, or you can share your thought in a respected way, rather than abusing the person,
Yeah.
कि क्या बकवास लिखा है, kind of thing.
Mm.
Will still respect you because you proposed something, a new idea, a new belief in a very well phrased manner. Correct? If you
Yeah.
do that, people will come to you. I think that consistency of at least commenting on 30 to 40 posts a day. This volume is huge, but yes, this is how you increase the speed. Right? And so हो सकता है initially आपको 2 घंटा लगेगा ये करने में. But as you
Yeah.
practice this, it will happen in half an hour also. You'll be able to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And as you were saying that, I realized usually when it's a post that sort of has a controversial opinion or something that's very unpopularly said, that's when people are hanging out the most in the comments section. So that's kind of like a good opportunity to give a different perspective or share your opinions about the topic as well. And there is lots of those posts out there. I guess a lot more than you would think, because those obviously get a lot of traction as well. So that's one way to really put your opinion out there as well in a more valuable format, as opposed to just saying a lot of generic things like good job. Someone says your views are very practical, so thanks for sharing those, Saurabh. I agree.
Thank you so
So yeah. So yeah, I guess the last couple of minutes we have left, I would love to know if there's any, learning resources, any kind of, social media handles, YouTube channels, books, whatever that is that you'd like to share.
I think yes, Growth Hacking book 1 and 2. Do read them. The most amazing book. So it is written by 135 marketeers, right? Who are successful freelancers and agency owners, or working with unicorn startups. These are those people, right? Do not miss these books, right? If you don't find them anywhere, Growth Hacking book 1 I have. You can name this podcast, send me a message on anywhere on social media. I'm available on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. Everywhere there is a common name called Consult Sourabh as the URL, right? You can tag this podcast. Okay, we listen to you in podcast, and we'll give you this price on only the printing plus shipping cost, not the Amazon price, right? So I have around 100 books with me right now. So feel free to ask me the book. I'll send me the address, and I'll send it your way, because these books, I think, as you know, part of the project in these books was the most amazing learning, right? Because you are reviewing those 100 chapters. You have read it 10 times.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think it was an amazing chapter. So apart from that, I would say I'm just available everywhere. My content is growing everywhere, right? Okay. And this community, again, that Rutu is building is a great community for only freelancers focused on one thing, giving you the best knowledge. So be part of the groups. Right. I think I'm also in the WhatsApp group now. So feel free to connect with me on WhatsApp also if you wish to. Not a problem at all. So I'm mostly active, like I'm 100% 24/7 active on WhatsApp. So you'll get a response within 5 to 10 minutes max. Right. If you don't come with any bad agenda, you will get a response.
Yeah.
So
Maybe you could use
I
some
think
of the
this is
tips
it.
that Saurabh just mentioned to reach out to him.
And one book I would suggest people to read is called License to Live. This is written by Priya Kumar. And this will give you a perspective of what is past, what is present, and what is future in a non-professional way.
Okay.
Right. And second book, again written by Priya Kumar, that is the biography of Mr. O.P. Munjal, Hero Cycles, founder of Hero Cycles. Right. This book will teach you what is called relationship building. This man was the biggest relationship builder on the planet. So he was so great at relationships. He is going as a Jaguar, right? And a blue collar worker is walking towards the factory. He'll come, "Aaja बैठ जा." So there's no gap कि मैं मालिक हूँ और मैं जैगुआर में हूँ, वो एक blue collar labor है. So he treats humans as humans. That's what I think we need to learn in this area, because we have forget humanity somewhere. Okay, and we treat each other like तू content marketer है, मैं copywriter हूँ. We have made a gap somewhere, right? मैं influencer हूँ, तुम नहीं हो. Right? मैं ये हूँ, तुम वो हो. So it is a huge gap I see everywhere today, right? And I think we need to reduce this gap as much as possible so that people can come in communities and help each other better. So these two books, I think I recommend everyone. They are generic books. Everybody can read it to understand something that will change something internally, and you will have an impact in long term for sure.
Perfect. And we'll try to put the links of those books and also Saurabh's contact information in the description, so it'll be easier for everyone else to find it. And me just shared a feedback form in the chat, so if everyone could just fill it out, it'll be really helpful for us to know how to structure future sessions and what is it that we could improve on, or any other suggestions on the topics that you all might have. That would be really amazing as well. And Saurabh, I wanted to ask you if you have any feedback for us, just generally about the podcast.
All perfect. I think, I think bringing in these kind of conversational knowledge is more than learning from a course, because they are more coming from, the community questions that people face challenges. So these conversations are much better than a course today. I think so.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm glad. Please seems helpful.